Hi everyone, it is me E and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at all the video games that I have played and beaten in my lifetime. I'm what you would call a very casual gamer. I play video games more on a weekly basis than I do on a daily basis, with the exception of Animal Crossing New Horizons, which I basically play every day. And I plan to continue to play every day until I reach the 1 year point. I think I've maybe missed 2 days since the release of the game, but otherwise I play that daily. But we're just going to be taking a look at the video games that I've beaten. And so certain games that I've played a lot of, and as many hours as you would play a game that you would be playing to beat, won't be making it on this list because they're the kind of games that you can't beat, like The Sims 4 or Roller Coaster Tycoon. I mean, I guess you could beat Roller Coaster Tycoon if you complete all of the scenarios, but I've played a ton of Roller Coaster Tycoon, but I have not done that. But let's just jump into it. I'm not going to be ranking these per se. I originally was going to, but it's kind of hard to do a ranking because a lot of these games I beat when I was a kid. And so what I decided to do instead is we'll kind of be taking a somewhat chronological look at the games that I've played and beaten. And before we do, I would like to explain the fan art. I guess you would call it fan art. Just the art this week. I decided to draw myself gaming and gaming with the encouragement of characters whose video games I've beaten. So I guess the point of this art is like if I'm being frustrated because I'm having trouble with a video game, I have all of the video games that I've already beaten to show me that I can do it and to spur me on to finish it. But without further ado, let's get into the list of games that I've beaten. The first one that I think I've beaten on this list, the first one that I completed, was probably Super Mario 64 DS. So this was a DS game, obviously, and I think I beat this around the time that I was 11 or 12. I really loved this game. My neighbor was playing it around the same time as I was. And so we would kind of compare notes and collaborate and give each other tips on how to beat the game. And I really enjoyed Super Mario 64 DS. And I had never played Super Mario 64 when I was playing this game. So it was my first exposure to Super Mario 64. The next game that I'll cover is Harvest Moon Magical Melody. Harvest Moon games are kind of hard to categorize as when exactly do you beat the game because there's so many different goals and objectives. And of course, as with all video games, there's a difference between beating the game and then completing it 100%. So for example, in Super Mario 64 DS, I beat the game, but I did not 100% it. I didn't collect every star, every coin, whatever. Well, in Harvest Moon Magical Melody, I would consider freeing the Harvest Goddess to be beating the game. Of course, there are 100 musical notes that you can collect throughout the game to complete it, but I've never done that. It would be way too time consuming, and I played this mostly when I was in middle school and early high school, and so my playthrough strategy was like almost like speed running it. I would just go to sleep at 3 p.m. in the game so that I could speed through time and complete goals like getting married and stuff like that as soon as possible. But Harvest Moon Magical Melody may be the Harvest Moon game that I put the most hours in. There are 10 bachelors in the game, and I've played through the game several times to marry all. I don't think I've married all of them, but most of them. So I really like Harvest Moon Magical Melody, and it was the first Harvest Moon game that I ever owned and played myself. The next game is Mario Kart Double Dash. Again, I played this a lot in middle school and got quite good at it. But it's one of those things where you feel like you're really good at Mario Kart Double Dash because you're able to beat the 150cc World Tour Grand Prix against the computer players. But then once you get into competitive play with like friends who also have the game, suddenly you're not that good anymore. But I did complete Super Mario Kart Double Dash. And along those same lines, I really loved Mario Kart, and so I whipped out the Nintendo 64 and I went ahead and beat Mario Kart 64 as well. My brother was the one who had the Nintendo 64 growing up, and he never bothered to beat the game, but I did, so that is something I guess I was proud of at the time. The next game that I think I completed was Super Monkey Ball 2. This is another GameCube game. I got super frustrated with this game on multiple occasions. There were times where I was like begging my older brother to help me because there's just this kind of feeling like your older siblings or your older cousins are just going to be good at video games even if they've never played them before. And obviously he refused to help, but I was able to beat Super Monkey Ball 2 on my own. And again, I did this around the time I was in middle school. Next up is probably Pokemon Red, which I beat later in high school. And I had never played any Pokemon games before this, actually. Or if I did, it was for a very brief time in my very early childhood. Like I might have played Pokemon Snap for the 64 very briefly because my brother had that. But my mom went through this phase where she made us get rid of all of our Pokemon stuff. And so we really weren't playing Pokemon. We didn't collect cards. We didn't watch the anime or anything. And I didn't get back into Pokemon until I was in high school, and I got a copy of Pokemon Red to play on my Game Boy Color, and I beat it. And of course I chose Charmander as my starter, and I had a lot of fun with it. Actually, I might have beaten Super Mario Sunshine before Pokemon Red. I think I probably beat Super Mario Sunshine pretty early in middle school, actually. But Super Mario Sunshine's a really great game, actually. And I've been kind of interested in watching speedruns of it recently because the exploits in the game are just really interesting. I sold my copy of Super Mario Sunshine after I beat it in middle school, which is always a mistake because whenever you sell your video games to GameStop, they always hose you and give you a terrible deal on them. I think I sold it for like $12, and then as an adult, I obviously regretted it, and so I bought the game again, and I think I paid $40 for it. So I guess that's kind of a lesson learned. And even now I feel even stupider because Super Mario Sunshine is available for the Nintendo Switch as part of the Super Mario 3D All-Stars bundle with Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy, and all 3 games are $60. So I could have just spent an extra $20 and got 2 more games. So I don't know. It's kind of a bad deal, but that's Super Mario Sunshine. In college, I started to play more Super Nintendo games and N64 games. I took my brother's Super Nintendo and his Nintendo 64 to college with me so I could play them. And I beat Donkey Kong Country for the Super Nintendo, I think my freshman year of college. I would come home from class and play it every day, and I think it took me about 2 weeks to beat it. And I felt super accomplished by that because Donkey Kong Country was a game that we had from the very beginning. There was never a time in my life, I feel like, that we didn't have a copy of Donkey Kong Country in our home. So I grew up playing it, but of course I'd get to a point where it was too difficult for me and I would have to quit. But as a more grown person, I was able to beat it, and my brother never managed to beat it himself, so it just felt like, wow, I really did something, and it felt very much like an accomplishment. I also beat Super Mario 64 in college for the first time. Now, we didn't grow up with a copy of Super Mario 64, which makes no sense. It was like the flagship game for the Nintendo 64, but we just never had a copy of it. So I bought a copy of it when I was in college, and I beat it, and I loved it. And it was kind of funny because a lot of it felt super familiar from having played Super Mario 64 DS, but it's more fun to me to play it on a larger screen, and there is something still kind of nostalgic about it because I remember having like played it a little bit at friends' houses and stuff like that, so it was cool to finally have my own copy and to be able to play it. Then we're getting into more like recent or current games. There's Mario Kart 7 for the 3DS, which I beat probably, I think after I was married even. So I beat Mario Kart 7. And I wanted to beat Mario Kart 8 because I had it for the Wii U. But I really hate the Wii controls, which is basically what you have to use for that game unless you play on the gamepad, which is huge and clunky. Of course, they re-released Mario Kart 8 as Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for the Switch, but I didn't pick up a copy of it because I felt salty for having already owned it on the Wii, and it felt kind of stupid to own it on the Wii U and on the Switch. So I didn't pick up another copy, but if it ever goes on sale, which it probably won't, or if I can find a used copy, which I probably won't, maybe I'll pick up a copy of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe so I can have it for the Switch. Next up is New Super Mario Bros. 2 for the 3DS. This game, again, I think I beat after I was already married, and this game is not very impressive, I'll be honest. The New Super Mario Bros. For the DS was a game that I played, but I was never able to beat. I got to the 8th world, the final world, and I just got stuck. There's a level that I can't make it past, and I also can't get like to a save point or something like that. I'm just stuck on World 8 in Super Mario Brothers for the DS. But the New Super Mario Brothers 2 for the 3DS has this mechanic where if you keep dying, they give you a invincibility star, and so it makes it really easy to beat levels at that point. So I have mixed feelings about it because it doesn't really feel like an accomplishment to beat the game because they basically give you such a huge help if you're struggling. But on the one hand, that's annoying, but on the other hand, I appreciate it because it's frustrating to pay full retail price for a video game and not be able to see the full game. Like, to know that there are levels that you will never be able to access is equally as frustrating. But I did beat it, but only with the assistance of those invincibility stars. Now, moving on, we have Harvest Moon, Animal Parade, and Harvest Moon: A New Beginning. Both of these I kind of beat around the same time. I was playing them concurrently. Harvest Moon: A New Beginning is for the 3DS, and Harvest Moon Animal Parade is for the Wii, which I was playing on my Wii U. For both of these games, I would consider there's like a plot, a storyline of tasks that you're supposed to complete. In Harvest Moon Animal Parade, you're supposed to collect all these bells and restore the harvest goddess tree and the harvest king or something like that. So that's a plot line and a storyline that you have to go through. And then there's also, of course, the added challenge, quote unquote, of getting married, which I did in that game. Harvest Moon: A New Beginning has a little bit more of a challenging storyline. It involves town restoration plans, and I did complete all of the town restoration plans, but I didn't get married in Harvest Moon: A New Beginning. I think that I got engaged or something like that, so I'm very close to getting married in that game, but I haven't done it yet. But I don't consider getting married a requirement of quote-unquote beating that game. But that's basically all of the games that I've beaten. Like I said, there's games like The Sims, which I've played a lot, but haven't, like, you can't beat The Sims. And Roller Coaster Tycoon, which I guess you could technically beat, but I played a ton of. There's also the new Story of Seasons Friends of Mineral Town game for the Nintendo Switch, which is a continuation of the Harvest Moon series. And I got married in that game, which is basically the biggest milestone or achievement or accomplishment in that game. But to me, that doesn't feel like beating a game, getting married in it. So I don't know if there's really a point at which in Friends of Mineral Town that I'll reach and think, okay, now I've beaten the game. I don't know if I'll ever reach that point, but I think there's a lot left to do in that game. And of course, there's Animal Crossing for the GameCube. I paid off my loan in this game, so I kind of consider that beating the game. But then there's also 100%ing the museum, which I haven't done. And I've been playing that game since I was like in 6th grade. So at this point, I don't know if I'll ever 100% the museum in the Animal Crossing for the GameCube. But I think I will complete the museum in New Horizons. So if and when I do complete the museum in New Horizons, I think I would consider that having beaten the game. But we'll see. But anyway, those are all of the video games that I've beaten in my life. I may be forgetting one or two, but those are the only ones I could remember. Most of them I beat when I was like in middle school or early high school, and so I haven't had as much time for video gaming in my adult life as I wish I did. Like I said, I only probably game once a week versus when I was a kid, I played video games on basically a daily basis. Right now I'm playing Super Mario Odyssey. and I think I'm pretty close to beating it, but I'm honestly not sure. And I'm having a lot of fun with it, even though I get kind of frustrated with it sometimes because I'm not that good at video games anymore. I was a lot better when I was in middle school and high school and even in college. But that's all for this video. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. I was going to make a gratitude video. 2020 has sucked though. There are still things to be grateful for, but I didn't want to force it, so I decided not to make a Thanksgiving video. But I hope that you enjoyed this one and have a good weekend. Bye!